what do you think was something you had to play with or something you had to do to get yourself out there to recruit as a recruit? And if you could go back to young CT getting recruited, like what would you tell yourself?
Yeah, I mean, the recruiting circuit now is obviously a little bit different than when I was getting recruited. Obviously, it's not too long ago, but um, at that time, kids could get committed going into freshman year, all
Right.
that stuff, right? So, I was a very small kid. I reclassed my freshman year. I don't think I broke 100 pounds until halfway through that year. So, um, but that was something that I already kind of had. I was always one of the smaller ones in my group. But at that time, it was a lot of kids that were committing still, right? And so for me, it was like one of those times where, you start to kind of question a little bit of like lacrosse. You're like, oh, these kids are committing. Like, when's going to be my moment? What should I do differently or whatever? Luckily, I've had some coaches who helped me with like all that process and whatnot. And my family was great too in it. But, I always felt like for me and for all these kids, it's, you just got to focus on just getting better and doing what you can. And I always think, in my opinion, the guys who compete the hardest and are the toughest out there, all the rest kind of falls into place. And so for me, I always was like, all right, I'm small, then I'm going to be the toughest kid on the field. I'm going to go get ground balls. I'm going to ride back. I'm going to do a lot of things that it doesn't really matter necessarily size in that aspect. Like I'm going to compete every second on the field and I'm going to work on my stick skills. I'm going to learn the game, and the rest will come with growing and all that stuff. And so, my dad always used to tell us, like me and my brother, when we would go try out for teams or whatever. And I always kind of thought about this when I was getting recruited too. Is like, do something to get noticed. Like,
Right.
what like again, you
Tough ground
balls,
hustle
like
play.
hustle back,
Yeah.
maybe hit a kid, celebrate with your teammates, whatever it is, like in the sense of, don't just be out there, like go all in. And, fortunately for me, it ended up working out, obviously, but the process is different for everyone. And so I just think if kids worry more about just playing with their team, playing with their club circuit, their high school circuit, whatever it is, and then just focus on themselves and getting better and whatnot, and don't worry too much about like what that kid's doing, what this kid's doing. Um, it'll all work out at the end of the day, right? So, I mean, that was kind of how it went for me, and obviously, again, it's different for everyone. So, some of my advice might not be the same for other people, but I do think that if you just focus on, getting better, then everything else is going to be fine. So,
Just trust your own process, right? Like just go through your own process.
yeah, absolutely. And again, like you got to surround yourself with people who are kind of similar with those things, of who want to work hard, who want to do those things. So I had a bunch of friends. Some were committed at the time, some were not. But I got to play with them all the time in the summer, and we all just want to play for each other, play hard, get better, whatever it was, So we would show up to practice, we do things on the side, just enjoyed doing it. And I think that it probably helped all of us at the end of the day. But you definitely want to be around like-minded people. So
For sure. For sure.